7 Magic Secrets, which make others can be controlled.
Bagaimana sih caranya?
Secret technique to get others to obey you. Number 3. How to make other people worry, even afraid if they don't obey you. From the theme alone, this suggests something stronger and fundamental than before. Previously, we discussed how to get people to obey you in a way to make them think. We'll get a reward, either with material or without material. In this way, let alone spending money. Without being given anything, they will obey whatever you want. This can be said to be quite terrible. How could we not? We're going to use a secret technique, where you make them think there is a risk if they don't obey you. It can indeed be very effective and powerful, and direct. Because this is a very basic thing in the human mind. It touches the most basic human mind. Namely fear. If we work in a company, we are assigned a big responsibility, to a task, with a fairly large and extraordinary target. In that target, we will be given a bonus if we reach the specified target. And get fired if it doesn't hit the target. Then hear what makes us obey. What are the bonuses, the rewards we will get? Or threats of being fired, if they don't get a target? Of course, most humans fear not reaching the target. That makes it more encouraging to obey superior orders. Next question. Is it true, the target that will scare us actually? No, our thoughts sometimes fool themselves. And to do that, the mind will run so fast. Faster than we can run, even faster than the speed of the horse, maybe even say, faster than the speed of light. We think overlapping. With consequences, what will happen, if it does not reach the target? In our minds, as if we are racing to find misfortune, looking for fear. What will happen, if the goal is not achieved? If not achieved later, we'll be fired. If fired, we'll lose income. If there is no income, we'll be poor. No money, hunger, abandoned partner, humiliated. And so on, just a lot. They overlap, looking for the deepest misery, in their minds. So you can be sure, the risk of sanctions and whatever makes you nervous and afraid. It is the secret to a very strong, obedient person. If someone is being threatened, he will voluntarily give anything, provided he can survive the threat. Moreover, it concerns life. When people are being threatened, they will spontaneously and without thinking give whatever he has to the person who is threatening. Many other things that make people afraid, like women. How afraid to be rivaled by other women, afraid if she is not prettier, has no more brand name, or luxury. This fear is what business people take advantage of, branding a product, so that products that should be just ordinary, made so expensive and classy. They form the minds of their target market, their consumers. If not wearing this means he is an ordinary class, middle to lower class, and so on. So that the target market is competing to buy goods at the most expensive prices, to make it look cooler and classier. Another fear is the fear of shame. It is also one of the most profound effects on humans. Shame if you fail, humiliated, and many others. Humans at least want to be humiliated. Sometimes for some people this is a matter of self-respect. So if he is humiliated, it means his pride will be hurt. And he lost his pride. That's why if someone challenged him to do something, although he did not want to do it, for the sake of his pride, rather than being humiliated because he was considered afraid, she would force herself to do that. Or other fear is the fear of abandonment by someone. The fear of being alone, and of being abandoned by this other, is another fear, which others often take advantage of, to make people to obey him. But apart from that fear, even though sometimes it makes us, it can make other people obey us. That you need to understand. Do not be too pushy to apply pressure. Because, when someone is at the edge of their fear, when all of their fear is limitless, that fear will turn into a compulsion to fight back. So even though he wanted to do that too, because I had to. That's why sometimes, this fear has a good effect. If someone is in need, it motivates him to do something that should be done. I personally just try to apply it to myself. Why added, because of the power of the technique to persuade or make people obey with fear. Widely used today, for things that should not be. So that we are afraid of excess. An example of someone who wants to start a business, fear of loss and others who previously prevented him, because he was forced to take action to initiate it. And another positive thing. Because sometimes we are trapped in something that is not clear, and are afraid of something that is not supposed to. And also should, if you have to be afraid. We deserve to be afraid of the one who created us, because he is almighty to give all goodness. even though we humans are gifted with fear. But we believe it is to get us closer to Him. Not even that fear is used to fear humans and things other than Him. By acting like this, we can avoid a person's bad intentions. Who wants to use this technique for ill-willed? The quote above is intentionally added to share what has been taught to us. Beyond our fear of the Supreme. So I am personal. Why convey this technique? So that we all know, in order to be careful with this technique. Secret technique so that others obey. Number 4. Previously we discussed 3 of the 7 secret techniques. How to make other people controllable. So now we get to the 4th technique. How to get the other person under control, using multiple techniques. In this technique we will combine reward and fear techniques. In addition, we will further sharpen and clarify the meaning in the field of promotion and sales. Much known for pleasure and pain, where consumers are made aware of the disadvantages they have experienced. If he doesn't buy, or doesn't use our product, the buyer is made aware of what the losses are, and what the benefits will be. If he decides to buy our product, this is commonly used by sellers, where they offer promo prices, and various bonuses. If you immediately decide to buy now, and also will run out of promo prices, discounts, and bonuses. If the order exceeds the predetermined time. By using this double technique, it will make the buyer more pressed to complete the order immediately. Because remember, according to research results, more people decide to buy, not because they need to, but because they want to. So when we use multiple techniques, it is this desire that will grow bigger. This makes them immediately buy the products we offer, even though he didn't really need it. Or we often find multiple techniques used by one person to persuade a friend, or someone else, to do something he wants. Where he will be subtle, or implied, will be very grateful if indulged, and will be hostile, even exclude from the association. Otherwise, even a royal and state dynasty from time immemorial, already using this dual technique, to conquer, and make kingdoms or else obey them. They are required to pay some taxes, or dues. Or if not, the kingdom will be hostile and fought collectively. This is indeed familiar to use around us, whether we realize it or not. And this will result in greater results, compared to using only reward techniques, or fear alone if they are less influential the reward technique. They will be influenced by his fear technique, or vice versa. Because we know each technique, 1 or 2, each have their weaknesses. For example, using fear techniques, if not appropriate in use, or excessive, this could turn to ourselves. Okay, we will discuss how to use multiple techniques, so that others obey you. Secret technique to get others to obey you. Number 4. Negotiation, marketing, or other experts, whose job is conquer other people in this world. Already very understanding how a similarity relationship between him and the interlocutor. It would make it easier for him to make his interlocutors easier to persuade and make obedient to him, so they heard, and believed, and finally agreed with whatever the speaker was saying. Why is that? Because human beings, it is easier to accept if something, or someone that has something in common with him. And with that, when he realized that his interlocutor was the same as him, makes him feel close, makes him physically and mentally more comfortable around that other person. Even though the other person was very foreign and never known. And with that, we will more easily get that person to agree with, and obey us. Even with this technique, in a certain way, if we know the technique, we can make other people who initially disagree, within 5 minutes or so, could be obeying what we do, and others. This requires a special explanation. Maybe I will make a technical video in the future. What if it was different? What will happen? We fail to make other people think the same as him. Means he's likely to think he and you are different, and with that, that person will feel foreign to you. Even though you have known him for a long time before, he actually feels you are a stranger to him. He will keep a distance from you. He will look for other people who have more in common with him. If this occurs in a business competition and others, meaning he will get closer to your competitors. If it is different in the context of the dialogue or other, what you will say will be in contrast to him. He will always argue with what you say. Take it off right or wrong. So quite tiring, isn't it? So what are the similarities, which you can make the basic material, to be used as a liaison between us and our interlocutors? Or our consumers, to make it easier for us to succeed in achieving whatever we are aiming for? Yes. Lots of them, if you want to discuss them one by one. But here we will try to peel some of them. Kinship and brotherhood. As we know, if we have a brotherly and family relationship, it will be easier for us to make equations. It will make it easier for us in dialogue, so that someone agrees and obeys us. That's why this is what is happening around us. If there is something profitable, or a good opportunity can be shared publicly, usually it will be informed in advance to the closest relatives, or family. The rest, then someone else will get it. Why did this happen? Yes, because people are aware of the strength of family and kinship or other relationships. Makes it easier for them to get others to obey, agree with, and comply with their wishes, according to what they want. So if we can make people aware, we have some kind of kinship. If that person were to be among several people, he would prioritize making decisions according to the kinship relationship that is closest to him. Furthermore, the racial equality of the nation or region. As we know, the similarity of origin of birth, or origin of place of residence, has its own power in the process of making others agree and obey us. Why this could be the basic reason, that's human. Psychologically, if there is something in common, or in common with himself or herself, he will tend to be more willing, and agree with what he has in common. Including if we succeed, and can make them think, you and him come from the same place. With that, he will be more open to accept, with what you mean, and what you want. Hereinafter is the equation of the same fate and agreement. When a marketer, a car showroom says to a potential buyer, "Father and I are the same, have more than one child, and I am personally very comfortable with this car model. Besides being spacious and comfortable, the appearance can be thumbs up." Of course, prospective buyers will agree with the marketing, because he feels he has something in common with the person who offers the product. This is better than him. Offer the model in another way. Because at the beginning of the communication, he had already formed a similarity between him and his prospective buyers. As previously stated, physiologically human, his mind will be more open, and obey other people, who have something in common with him. There are many techniques, and ways of getting other people to relate to, and to have in common with you, so that they become easier to get, and obey you. Besides the 3 examples that I have presented above, you can develop according to your individual needs. If you want other examples according to the situation, or have something to add, please write in the comments below. The more here the discussion will be more interesting, and if you haven't watched it in sequence, we recommend repeating from the beginning, so that nothing is overlooked, and not connected with the material that will be discussed in the future. Okay, next, we get to technique 5. Secret techniques to get others to obey you. Have you ever been in a situation like this? Be in a situation, like an egg with a horn, or forward hit back hit. Problem with people who are not good. Arguing with a brutal person. Dealing with subscriptions, who ask to change goods. In fact, the damage was caused by his own fault. What would happen if we didn't quite deal with things like this? If we are traders, we will lose customers. If we face other people who are nonsense, or not good enough, we will only increase the problem, which is of no benefit. Or anything else. We have to be really smart in the face of something. That is why, this technique is very, and you must understand. Because in this situation, it usually only aims to solve the problem. And we don't actually earn anything. However, if we don't finish quickly, it will hurt us. Cause, takes time, effort, and others, which must interfere with the activities we should be doing. So here, we are actually the ones who are pressed. We are faced with a situation, where whatever we do, we will lose, and lose. But here, we try as a persuader, to minimize defeat. Or the loss. Great if you can eliminate these losses. And cool again. If you are, it can be mutually beneficial. So how do you best behave as a master conqueror? Instead of getting angry, and other negatives. For the beginning, try to face it first calmly. Because when emotional, in this state usually the brain cannot work properly. Then after that, start to understand the situation, and so on. What you can think and do. What are your weaknesses, what are your strengths, as well as on the other side, or our customers. What their strengths and weaknesses are, what will make them agree with you. And finally agree and accept the best solution. For example, here we act as an online seller of a cosmetic product. According to SOP, all goods are packed and shipped in such a way, so that we are sure, the goods that we will send it, has gone through a strict packaging and check process. And we are sure, will reach the consumers well. Even though on the way, the delivery must go through transit, and the loading and unloading process is quite rough, and others. The goods will remain in good condition in the hands of our consumers. Then there is a customer who has been shopping quite often. This mother can be said to routinely order one type of cosmetics, then after confirming the proof of transfer and address, the goods are packaged and sent to the expedition. After a few days the goods arrive, CS confirms again, and the buyer confirms the goods have arrived. A few days after that, this mother called CS again, and complained that the goods received were damaged, and so on. Then starts scratching and getting angry, talking about being disappointed, and so on. How come junk items were sent? I was bothered and needed this. And blah 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 blah. In this situation, as a seller it went awry. 'Cause whatever is done, will cause losses. Want to insist that the goods have been received well, and may not be damaged. Then ignored his complaints. Means we're losing customers. Want to be replaced, resend, means experiencing a loss. Because you have to send the same item. Here as an online merchant, rather than confronted with frivolity and grumpiness, it is better to choose to speak well, by giving choices. Here we know, this mother is a loyal user of our product. Then he is a busy man, we put forward two options. First, because he's a busy person and he probably won't have time and want to send things back to us. As a seller, we promise to return the full money, after the mother sent the goods back to us. Until here other than he was bothered to repack, and escort to the expedition. He also has to spend some money for postage. Second, we offer him to keep using the product that has arrived, because we know most about the damaged packaging. So the contents can still be used, and for further orders, as an apology in good faith. We will give discounts and bonuses. Here mother, initially angry, faced with a state of urgency, wants to choose the first according to her wishes. Full money back, it is not good. Even harm and make him a bother. In this state, he is happy. Follow our wishes, the seller. Choosing the second option, namely in the future, when you buy again you will be given special discounts and bonuses. Here the party who plays the role of the seller, has succeeded in becoming a true persuader. Instead he reversed the situation. From the beginning he had a chance to lose, instead he was lucky to get reorders, and added more profit from future orders. What do you think? We just need to understand what we are dealing with, and what information we have, and how to deal with it, appropriately. Interesting, right? To develop, and apply. In your own case, just adjust. The most important thing here as a conqueror, you get a good solution, which is mutually beneficial. Furthermore, the secret technique so that others obey is number 6. How to get people to think, and ultimately accept whatever you say. If they think you are the expert. For this one technique, you need a lot of effort. 'Cause to be heard, obeyed, and believed, you have to be an expert, and have more abilities, than other people. Especially the person you are talking to, and others. How and what people do to be categorized as experts or experts. There are various ways so that the title of expert and expert can be achieved. In order to increase the trust and obedience of others, to you, and others. For example, for this people do study and struggle to complete the highest education, S1, S2, S3. Even to the professor, and others. There are also those who have participated in various trainings, and even have a myriad of certificates. To prove that he is an expert in that field, or hone their talents and hobbies, through the process of trying. Fail over and over again, to find, and achieve something that others rarely do. They have never even been accomplished. Or there is also someone who simply does not have the ability, or lack of ability, he is promoted and lies about an ability and expertise. Actually, he doesn't have that ability. But consistently lied, until finally the believer, he is the expert in that field. For this, in the age of the developing world of the internet, and the abundance of social media. Arguably quite easy to do, and widely applied in the real world. Even though they are actually aware that they are deceiving themselves. Then there too. To state an expertise and expert, in a field. Sometimes in order to look different, people make something different, from people in general. First it aims so that other people do not understand. With that, so that only fellow experts in that field will understand. Second, to make it look special, and not ordinary. We can see the experts make a difference to it. Such as differences in writing, so that the layman cannot read and understand them. Or create special languages and terms. There are also different uniforms, or some make a strange and interesting movement. so that they are known and are experts in that field. We can see this in a cafe, or others, they make special movements to prepare and mix a drink. Or the chefs, wearing special clothes. To say, they're experts in that field. Then what is the importance of making people think we are experts in a field? And what to do with this technique? In a meeting, there was heated debate, what should be done to revive a company that was in decline. From the previous meeting, discussed about choosing 3 candidates. Of the 3 candidates, one person will be chosen as the new leader, the chosen person will be promoted, as well as his salary. At times like this, who do you think will be elected? Of course, the most competent person and is considered the most expert to carry out the task. Now suppose you, or your family is sick. Could you take it to the repair shop or to the market? Of course not. Then when you are in the hospital, from the many doctors listed, there are general practitioners and specialists. Which one you will choose? You should have chosen a specialist, right? Why? Because, you will be more confident. The hospital is a place to treat a disease. And specialist doctors who better know and understand to cure people who are sick than a general practitioner. Or you are in a group, or community or other. At one point there was a race. In the race it mentions, whoever becomes a champion, will be given a large enough prize, and will be accepted as a permanent employee in a large company. The salary is arguably very large. The only way that you can be invited, and participate in this race is if you can prove that you are an expert in one of the fields that will be contested, right? Many other examples that you can see around you. People are willing to work hard and strive to become experts in a field. Already human nature, have to be more than others, they will be upset if they feel left behind. This is very important when you become a leader. You, at a minimum, must understand all jobs, regardless of the type in which you lead. And to maintain your leadership, you must keep learning, so that employees still think you are more expert than him, thereby maintaining your existence as a leader. So what you say and command remains trusted and obeyed by employees. What happens if we don't have an expert factor in a field? It was clear we were going to be the usual. If you are an employee, you will become a regular employee. If it's school, we'll be normal students. Or if we are businessmen, if we fail to compare our business are experts in their fields. Of course there will be fewer customers, because people think our business lacks capabilities, and they will not trust them to use our services and products. Or if we talk something that people think we are not experts in that field, we might just be laughed at if we participate in discussing it. And whatever we think, and whatever we say, will only be rebutted and rejected. Although we sincerely intend to help, and what we say is true. Sad, isn't it? Okay, keep studying. Master something, not even controlled by something. You decide, so you control. Or who controls? Next. Secret technique to get others to obey you. Number 7. It doesn't feel like it's up to the 7th secret technique. How to make people believe and obey you. With technique, so it can be trusted and relied on. This is the last technique in this part 1. From many other great materials, which we will share together, from how to get others to believe in more. So far, what do you think? When compared from techniques 1 to 6, which one do you think is more powerful and truly extraordinary? Is a reward technique. If according to what I learn and I apply myself, this technique might work well at first. But over time, the persuader will become overwhelmed with time. For, each time, we need to increase, and continue to increase, what we give. Otherwise, the effect will be weak and not maximal. You can prove it when you get used to giving rewards. When telling children to learn or do something in the future, if you give and promise the same amount as before, over and over again, over time he won't do what you tell him to do. Unless you increase the number, and in the end this will be a problem for you. Your child will not be sincere. Because everything is measured only in matter. For me personally, this is a very bad thing. Likewise with threats, you can see the effect of the punishment somewhere. What do you think happened a lot? Whether people obey or break the law, and the rules. Even in some cases, if a person, or group is too depressed. There are several possibilities that will happen. Sometimes they learn to adapt and start to make sense. Or sometimes, like a lot, it breeds rebellion, and many other bad things. How about the technique of being an expert? This too has its drawbacks, but to complement one another's techniques for a good cause. That's pretty good too. Then what is the best technique? What is the greatest technique? so that people believe and obey you. What techniques can be used, which will not backfire for ourselves? And other consequences. This seventh technique is the answer. This technique is the best technique, and without negative consequences, both for us and others. This factor that proves who you are, and how you prove as a person who can be trusted, and relied upon. This is what will have a tremendous effect. As you become a reliable person, and can be trusted, keep growing and growing, getting bigger. That's what will make you a person others obey and listen to. Later in another part, I will explain what the cause, and the complete secret behind this interesting thing about this. But before we discuss how to use that trust and dependability as your strength to become a conqueror, first we will peel and dismantle how to get other people to trust you. And in the next video I will show you a secret, how to make other people believe in you. And how can you be a true conqueror, be heard, obeyed whatever you say. Okay, don't feel the first volume of how to get others to obey you is over. This is the initial stage, one part of a series of secrets of the true conqueror. The main goal is that we understand how we get what we want from other people easily. In the next section, we will discuss what I mentioned above. If there are opinions, or others, please write a comment below. To stay informed of updates, please press the bell, subscribe, like, comment, and share this video on your social media. So you have become another good person, who spreads and supports useful channels. We pray for this to be your charity, and we also pray for those of you who subscribe, like, and comment, share, make it easier for you to do so, be successful in every way. Good for your hereafter. Okay, I thank you. See you in the follow-up video which is more interesting and extraordinary.
Bagaimana sih caranya?